Hey everyone, Brock from Brock and Sindri, back again with another Fable lore video. We are continuing our tour around Albion, and we are coming to what is known as a colonial protectorate of Albion. It's another country, it's overseas, and it's called Aurora. Now we're on the boat, it's taken us a while. We've miraculously managed to get signal to post this update, but what we'll do is we'll run through the lore of Aurora, the country, and we are due to land in the city of Aurora next week. So let's get started. So Aurora is a country in Fable that became part of the Kingdom of Albion during the events of Fable 3. It was first referenced to in the Fable 2 quest, The Vision, the last quest in the DLC See the Future. Teresa mentions that the hero's child will control the fate of both Albion and Aurora. Now, Aurora is situated at the northern end of a largely arid continent, overrun with sand and under the searing heat of the sun, stretching between the unnamed shores and the Great Gate in the Veiled Path. Aurora is a large but mostly empty continent located to the south of Albion. Since deserts do not make very productive land, there is only one known remaining city in the lands of Aurora, namely the city of Aurora. The continent continues to the south of the Great Gate, beyond the borders of Aurora. Little is known of this region. And not much is known of Aurora's history. Massive statues and magnificent temples indicate the continent was once home to a great civilization, but those days of glory have clearly passed. The remains of their existence litter the country, deserted and in great decay. Clusters of these remains can be found in the Auroran Mine, the Crossroads of Passing, the Sandfall Palace, Shadelight, and the Veiled Path. It is unclear what caused the collapse of the civilization. It's possible the Crawler had some influence in it, but it is not likely because the people of Albion claim the Crawler to be a recent threat, having started attacking Aurora only in the most recent years. When the darkness began its assault of Aurora, the Auroran civilization fell to its knees. Every night, the Crawler's children would roam the streets of the city of Aurora freely, attacking civilians at random and dragging them from their homes before retreating once more with the approach of dawn. It was during this tumultuous time that the current monarch of Albion, King Logan, went on an expedition to the desert continent, only to be attacked and nearly killed by the Crawler. After Kaelin nursed him back to health, Logan promised to save the Aurorans, only to abandon them to the darkness when he realized that it would invade Albion. 5 years later, similar events played out with the arrival of Logan's sibling, the hero of Brightwall, fighting their way through Shadelight Dungeon only to succumb to the scorching heat and the relentless hallucinations of the Crawler. Kaelin found them in the desert and united them with their companions, Benfin and Walter Beck. It was at this moment that Kaelin asked the hero to do what Logan failed to, protect her people from the Crawler. Agreeing to this request, Kaelin pressed Aurora's navy into service during the revolution. After the revolution was successful, it was up to the hero to decide whether to keep that promise or to exploit the Aurorans to mine resources to save Albion. The following is derived from Fable Edge of the World, and therefore there is a canon warning. 10 years after the defeat of the Crawler at the hands of the hero of Brightwall, Aurora still remains a vital province of Albion, indicating that the mighty hero king decided to honor his promise and protect the continent from the darkness. Aurora serves as a vital trade hub with Albion during its new golden age, and even sends off one of its inhabitants, Layla, to marry the hero of Brightwall. And that's the warning over. So the city of Aurora is a small port city comprised of many small clay houses and a large stone temple. Despite their primitive lifestyle, the city is an important area of trade and holds an impressive naval force, presumably powerful enough to challenge Albion's. However, the harsh conditions of Aurora and the threat of the Crawler has caused Kaelin to believe the city is doomed unless it receives aid from Albion. The only other remaining civilization on Aurora is the Sand Fury tribes, though their hostility prevents discovery as to the nature of their society. Since Kaelin inherited the control of the city of Aurora from her father, it is likely that Aurora is an autocracy of some form. Kalen is referred to simply as the city's leader, indicating that due to the city's small population, there's no strictly defined government. The importance of the temple may also indicate a theocracy, a state ruled by the clergy. Of course, once Aurora has joined the revolution and placed the hero of Brightwall on the throne, it will be a part of Albion either as an equal part of the kingdom or as an exploited colony. This also leads to its protection under the forces of the Albion Royal Army, which finally protects the people from the Crawler. Unlike Albion, Aurora never managed to undergo its own industrial revolution, which does result in Aurora being stuck in a more agricultural society focused on trade and services. The gold coin is the currency of Aurora as it is in Albion, although it is unknown if this simply adopted when Albion takes over Aurora, or if the gold coin was the traditional Auroran currency. Although specifics are lacking, it is clear that religion does play a role in Auroran society, as the largest and most central building in the city of Aurora is their temple. Not only does the temple serve as a place of spiritual healing, but of physical healing as well, as the local Priestess Mara, is the person who tended to Ben Finn, Walter Beck, and the hero of Brightwall. Key to Auroran religion and belief are a series of dyes made from rare Auroran flowers whose colours represent different aspects of Auroran society. Although the incessant attacks from the Crawler made it impossible to gather the flowers, the hero can aid in the Aurorans in this matter by completing the temple's treasure quest. The Aurorans also seem to have great reverence, or at least respect, for the dead, as hinted by the letters found on the shrines in Aurora, and the man who is seen honouring his dead family when you first arrive in the city. Unlike Albion, there is little indication of what the Auroran people do for entertainment. No pubs, elaborate games, drinking, gambling, prostitution, or arena fighting seems to exist in Aurora. There is no proof of Auroran literature and no hint towards Auroran theatre. This could be because of the attacks of the Crawler, which could have destroyed these simple pleasures. The only visible venue of entertainment is music, which the player can take part in. Now, Aurora is the first place in the series that the player can visit which is outside of Albion. Now, Aurora is the Latin word for dawn, as well as the name of the Roman goddess of dawn and the astronomical phenomenon of the northern and southern lights. This links with the darkness being repelled by light and thus dawn. Aurora also has a geographical meaning, referring to a kind of Middle Eastern country, obviously in the east, the direction from where the sun rises. The remains of a great civilization may be a reference to the collapsed Persian Empire. Now, before Fable 3 was released, it was believed that Aurora was the invading threat, with no hint at the existence of the Crawler. This was most likely intended to be a plot twist. Auroran children never speak except for your own children. This is because all voice tracks for children use British accents, which Aurorans would not have. The city of Aurora is the only major city that does not feature convict on the run quests. Some playthroughs will similarly not have fetch or courier quests. The residents will instead request gifts to earn their friendship. Auroran homes and military buildings resemble shoes or boots when viewed from a distance and on the sanctuary map. Many Auroran homes have indestructible doors, meaning the player cannot break into them. And some parents can be heard telling their children, "I'll send you to Aurora if you keep acting bad." This is considered to be rare since it is rarely heard. In Fable Anniversary, the continent of Aurora can be seen in the loading screens. The sand goose appears on the continent in the loading screens too, implying the legendary creature may be native to Desert Continent. The revelation in Fable the Journey that the Crawler was imprisoned in Shadelight Dungeon during a battle with the greatest three heroes of the Old Kingdom indicates that the Old Kingdom at least knew about Aurora. And that's it for lore on Aurora so far. We will be continuing our journey to the city and we'll talk about that next week. After that, we're coming back to Albion. With that, we'll see you next week for the next Fable lore video. Thank you.